Hello friends, this is Sharmi with the Amateur Gardener. I'm back with another video today. We have very beautiful weather today, perfect weather to work in your garden. But we are going to get another cold snap in late February. I hate this, but I will be covering up a few of my tropicals that I've already taken out of the greenhouse. Some I put back in, but there are a few that are outside. It's not going to stay cold that long, but I think Wednesday through Saturday, the nights will be pretty cold. Okay, so but other than that we are okay. I think there's only one day where it's going down to the mid-20s, but I think for the most part we'll be okay. I'm just a little sad about possibly losing some of my flower buds. Like my fig tree has already started sprouting and putting out all the green nice little fresh leaves, so those may get nipped, but that's okay. It'll be fine. They'll all recover in a month or so. Okay, but today's video is mostly about two things. One is I indulged again. I got myself a peony, and this is a tree peony, one of the Ito peonies, and I plan to keep it in a pot. It's a large wine barrel, like a big one, for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is because we have clay soil here. Until I kind of put my head together and figure out a nice spot for it in my garden, I'll keep it in the large pot. It is this one. This is the Barzella Ito peony. It's a yellow peony. It's from Monrovia. It is this peony that I got, and let me take you to it. This is the plant. Has so many sprouts there, multiple eyes. Says zone 5 through 9. It's hard to grow peonies in our area. I do have like some clumps that I had planted like about 3 years ago. They keep coming back every year, but they're small. They haven't flowered for me yet, but they always come out with nice fresh leaves and they die back. Okay. People that have seen me on my prior videos, I'm always ready to stretch my limits and try out things that are not perfectly suited to my area, which is why I have so many hydrangeas. At least, I mean, with the 2 additional ones, I think I'm probably close to like 25 or 30 hydrangeas now. I have to do another count again. I counted like middle of last year and then I stopped. But the other thing we're going to do today is take care of my 2 Peggy Martin roses. I have 2 huge Peggy Martin roses that have produced beautiful flowers in the spring, and they're already starting to have like new flower buds, set them, but I want to cut back some of the old leaves. We did have a freeze middle to end of January, but we don't have enough cold hours for the roses to completely die back, so I usually cut them back and then defoliate them. So this one obviously is a huge plant. I had cut it in half last year. It was getting too big and it actually bent over my trellis, so I had to get a replacement trellis for it, which is a much sturdier one. But this one I'll have to defoliate, and I'll go through it and I'll take you through the process. Okay, so without much more talking, let's get going. This is what I mean by defoliating. So this is one branch that has been defoliated. You can see that it'll have flowers at all of these nodes. All of these little fresh leaves that you see will have flowers. But this one hasn't been defoliated, and I will be doing it. I will be helping it out. So let me take you through it. Okay, so this is what I'll be doing. Maybe start from somewhere on the tip, and I will be defoliating all these leaves. And if you can see the little nodes, there will be new leaves and branches, flower nodes coming from those. So all these leaves will be gone. And as you can see, some of these have like the black spot fungus, so we'll be getting rid of that as well. And more here. An idea is to catch it in a trash bag and throw it out and not actually let it fall to the ground as far as possible. Okay, that's okay. So, and then I'll be tying back this to this big trellis that I have out here. Again, another one here. It's a tedious job, but it can be done. So this one, as you can see, already has like flowers coming out. So this is one plant. It should be enough to go up this entire trellis. It actually filled it up and bent my earlier trellis. So this is a brand new one. And then let me take you to my other one, which is here. So this is my other Peggy Martin again. So this one came all the way down to this other side, and so this one also will need to be defoliated. As you can see, I've taken out my tropical, so I'll be kind of covering them up. I have large, like 50-foot frost cloths and tarp, so I'll be covering them up for next week. And let me show you one interesting thing. So this one had come all the way across this the trellis, and it actually rooted and have another Peggy Martin here that actually took from the other end of the plant. You can't see the continuation because I had cut that off, those branches off, but that's a proof that it came all the way, and we have another plant here. Okay, so I'm a little less than halfway around. I wanted to give you a look. It looks a lot more emptier than it was. So like, you can look at this. This is how it looks now. And even these ones, you can see it's going to bloom from every single node. I'll post a picture of how it looked last year. And okay, let me do more, and then I'll share the end result with you. As you can see, this is a pretty tedious job, but I can assure you that it's worth it. Hopefully I'm getting all the old leaves from last year, and I can avoid, or at least limit, black spot fungus in my roses. Shrub roses, I usually cut them back, prune them, and defoliate them a little bit of what's left, and that takes care of it. But for climbing roses, they flower differently. They flower from every node, so I cannot prune them back. Then I'll be seriously limiting the number of blooms I'll get. So this is what I do to my climbing roses. Some years is colder than others, and we lose a lot more leaves than this. But this year we did have a freeze. I guess it wasn't enough, and we didn't lose as many leaves. In my opinion, it helps limit the amount of disease load you carry from year to year. So some of the canes have already lost their leaves. So if you look at this one, this part has already lost their leaves. It fell on its own, and usually cold snaps do that to roses. But the tips are still there. Okay, so done with mostly cleaning up the roses. Now I'm in the process of starting to twine the roses through parts of this trellis. So let me take you through it. These are like metal but rubber coated, I believe, wires that I can use to pull back the bigger branches. So this is what I typically use. These are like clips. They're like metal aluminum clips, and this is how I start twining my roses. What I'm trying to do is, hang on, cut it. So this will be more stable. Okay, now I can do this. And this is something I can easily untwine and adjust later on. And it has quite a bit of space in case that branch, of course, it will expand over the years. And then there's another big branch that I want to get it here, close to the, okay, it's this one. Move this out first. Let's move this out first. And let me get this one here. And then you can fit this in. Okay, that's out. And this one's in here. So I dropped it. I'll use a fresh one. Okay, hold on. Let me cut it first. Okay, I got this one. Okay, got both together. And then I am going to tie it to this one. Okay, as you can see, this is definitely something that I can adjust over the years. Okay, now this one I'm starting from scratch, so this I can put it here. Okay. I'm going to get that closer, but and the advantage with Peggy Martin roses is that they hardly have thorns, very few, so I can do it with bare hands. Ideally I should be doing it with gloves, and maybe I will be going and getting some now. Okay, giving you a look of how it looks after trying to kind of control it and twine it around the trellis. It's covering like roughly 1/2 of the trellis. In maybe 4 to 6 weeks, this should be covered in like pink blooms. Okay, I may have lost and destroyed some of it in the process of doing getting the size control, trimming and all this, but it'll still be a wonderful show. Okay, let's take you to the next one. So wanted to take you through another rose of mine, and I did a mistake with this rose last year, is that I pruned it back too hard, and some person on one of my YouTube videos advised me to leave it alone. This is a Madame Plantier rose, and I read more about it, and since then I've decided to take that advice, and that it is best to leave this rose alone till it blooms. It's kind of more like the Peggy Martin, like the climber roses, where it blooms only once a year. Peggy Martin for me has also had like kind of a less floriferous fall blooming, but Madame Plantier doesn't bloom throughout the year. It's a very old-fashioned rose. I think it's from 1835. I'll put the information online, but this is one of the old-fashioned English roses. No, is it? No, or French roses, whatever. It's one of the old-fashioned roses, and it only blooms once a year. And if you can see this big mess of sticks, looks like lots and lots of like sticks and cobwebs, it should bloom with flowers, be filled with flowers come spring. Now what I am doing right now is I'm just making sure it goes over this big trellis that I have. It's almost taking up like 4 feet, another 4 feet, like 8 feet of my trellis. So if you are deciding to plant this rose, be careful about how much space it takes. You can always prune it back after it blooms, which is definitely something that I'm going to do, but right now I'm not even planning to trim it. There are some branches that went on the other side, which I'm going to bring over. And as we go, here is my generous gardener. I planted it last year, still needs a little bit of touch-up and pruning. This is also a climber rose. Roses take some while, so you have to kind of be patient with roses, especially like climbing roses. Just to walk you through, this is another rose that blooms really well for me. This one is Baron Prevost, and this one is a shrub rose, but the smell, the fragrance is like awesome. Has still some of the blooms from last year. I haven't touched it yet. I'm planning to. Of course, this is like a branch that I plan to cut off. I haven't gotten to rose pruning yet, but like my Savannah rose, which is also very fragrant, this one is probably my most fragrant rose. Madame Plantier here, coming back to it. This rose has thorns on the older branches, but the newer ones, the softer canes, don't have thorns, which is why you can see that I am bravely attacking it without gloves. One thing to let others know, unless you have watched my channel from before, is that the trellis that you see here is a very sturdy one, but the most inexpensive one considering the size. It is a cattle panel. It's the 4x4 cattle panels. It's 16 feet across. So if you see it, so this is like all 16 feet, and all you do, or I did, is bend them and then fasten them to these T-posts. So I got, like, I believe these are like 6 feet T-posts, and I put like at least a foot in the ground, and they are one of the most sturdy things. You can use zip ties, or you can use like metal ties to actually fasten them to the T-posts, and it stays like that. At least it has I put this in, like, I think either last year or earlier, late part of the year before. I think it was last year. So it has had a whole season, and it doesn't budge. Okay. Do I have any more stragglers? I have a few. This is another rose that blooms for me all year, except for maybe the 3 months of winter. So other than December through February, this rose is always in bloom. This is the petite pink rose from Proven Winners. I gave it a serious pruning towards the end of last season. It's flushed back again, and I actually prune it multiple times a year, and it always comes back. It's small pink, light pink flowers, like baby pink flowers, and it's usually full. This is taking up like roughly a 4x4 spot now, and I'm sure I could have kept it smaller, but I wanted it to fill up that space. Okay, so I think this is okay. Things are not falling on my head, and these are some. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. I haven't pruned any of my other roses yet. We're getting a freeze this coming week, so I'm going to wait for that, and then I'm going to cut everything back. These are all, except for this one, these are all David Austin roses here. This is Lady of Shalott. That one is Graham Thomas. That one, I forget what it is. That's a Heritage there in the back. That's a Molino. And this one is Bliss Parfuma. This is not David Austin. And then I have purple salvia there that I had planted 2 years back. It always comes back, and it's actually spreading, and I don't mind it. It produces beautiful purple flowers, and I like that. Okay, and then I do have some Nicotiana here that I had sown from seed. Hopefully that will also come back. More salvia, they always come back. And I have to still, I don't want to show you the weedy parts of my garden. This is very weedy. This is another rose. I forgot the name of the rose. It's a red one, and this is also a climber, as you can see, and I'm not going to prune it until it gets its first flush of blooms. This rose I will prune. This is the Awakening rose. I still have to prune it. I haven't tackled it yet. I'll go through it. Another climbing rose, it's a Cortis rose. That's Quicksilver. That is very, very thorny, so I have to be careful with that one. But the one behind it that you look full of leaves and all that, that is Zephyrin Druon. I might just keep it nicely controlled in that arbor there, but I am probably not going to trim much except for the dead and the dying part. For those, I'll take you to another rose pruning video later on. I just wanted to show you and share with you what I do to my Madame plant here. So wrapping up the video today, this is how the Peggy Martin looks right now. It looks like sticks with some leaves. And then I just discovered there's another plant that took root. It is this one. I left it alone. There's another Peggy Martin growing there. I might put it somewhere. I might just give it off to someone else. We'll see. And so this is one, and then the other one is here. And I'll come back to you with videos on how it looks later once it starts flowering. I didn't get to planting the peony today. Okay, looking quite messy right now, so I have to go inside and clean up. Hopefully you'll like my video. If you did, do hit a like and do subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.